What's going on, guys? Eternal Land back with another Ghost of Tsushima video, and today we are going to be covering my anticipated Stone Striker Samurai build. For those of you who saw me damage test the Heavenly Strike on this character a couple of days ago in a short video where I ended up one-shotting it with Heavenly Strike, and it was an Elder Oni Lord. Yeah, this build hits like a truck! I've always liked Heavenly Strike, as I'm sure you will know if you followed me for a little while now. I use it a lot on the Ronin, but I decided to try it out on the Samurai after they got their Deep Strikes buff. And the amount of damage that you can do, again, if you saw that past video, is ridiculous. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Right off the bat, Stone Striker, using it with melee damage, staggered damage, poison blade, and wind stance. And the reason I have wind stance on here is because now we have stance mastery through legendary katanas, without having to have the like wind master perk on there. That's a new change from patch 2.18. But yeah, this thing is going to allow you to one kick stagger Tengu and three kick stagger Elder Oni Lords, just like I did in the damage test video. Um, we do have to have melee stagger damage at least once on the build to be able to achieve that, which I do have on my Caltros, but we'll cover that shortly. Um, as for the ranged weapon, I don't really use ranged very much on this character unless I'm sniping at an Oni Archer from afar. Or just trying to build some quick resolve while in someone else's smoke or something like that. But I've got both the longbow and the half bow ready for this character. But I ended up going with the longbow instead of the half bow because it has two more fire arrows, and even though it's not very much, it's practically the only thing I use this for. Now for Enjos. I know we've had a lot of Enjos builds releasing over the past few days or weeks at this point. But now that we can get class-specific perks and properties on them, Enjo's just made sense for me and everybody else making all these crazy-ass builds. And what I've opted to do for this one in particular is to go with Oni and staggered damage. Generally, I go with melee damage instead of Oni damage for these types of builds. Um, but you get so much ghost weapon damage on this character. Yes, I know it's not a Ronin, but if you're attacking an Oni with a ghost weapon for this build, you're going to hit them with a 65% damage increase. It's kind of crazy to do that much damage with your ghost weapons on a samurai. And we're going to have so much melee damage that 2% difference isn't really going to mean much. And if you had melee damage on it instead of Oni, you really wouldn't see the difference against non-Oni enemies because you're going to shit on them so bad to begin with. So I went ahead and just opted for Oni so that my ghost weapons could do more damage. Um, and then I decided to try out Rising Tempo. Now, in that damage demonstration video, I was not using Rising Tempo, which means that you can do even more damage. Um, if you get a couple of kills prior to your next Heavenly Strike. Uh, but Rising Tempo has always kind of sucked. Uh, but because it works perfectly with Enjos, I wanted to give it a try, and I didn't really want to just go for another resolve. And I don't have a ton of fire damage on this, so I'm not using Fire Master. But one thing the game does not tell you, because I have been asked a couple of times about Rising Tempo, is as you see, successive kills without taking damage increases damage dealt. What it doesn't tell you is that you need to get those kills within about a 5-second window. I don't know if there's a hard cap, but what I do know is that even if you don't get hit, let's say you kill 5 enemies, you get 5 stacks, and you're doing massive amounts of damage. But then all of a sudden, you've killed every enemy for one area of a wave, and you go to the next area, you're not going to have that damage anymore. It goes away within a certain amount of time. Like I said, it's like 5+ seconds. It's good for like the 5 strike ultimate. to where you can just get like maybe a couple of crummy kills leading into like an Elder Oni or something. Um, but it's just not great. However, with us running Enjos, it pairs perfectly with it, and it just gives me a chance to do something different. Like I said, if you get a couple of kills on scrubby Mongols before you do a Heavenly Strike on a staggered Elder Oni, that thing is going to destroy them. And then, as per usual, with running Enjos, I think it's wise to, unless you're a god and you don't plan on ever getting hit, um, I think it's wise for all of us non-gods to use some form of healing when running an Enjos, or else it's kind of wasted. You know, you're going to get hit and you're just not going to have that bonus damage. So we're rocking Blessed Strikes. Now that I've covered that lengthy garbage, let's go to Ghost Weapons. Again, like I said, you're going to have a 65% Ghost Weapon damage against Oni with Enjos active when using your kunai and your caltrops, because we have ghost weapon damage maxed out on both of them. And then we use kunai because it's the only thing that has melee damage for ghost weapon 1 to just further increase that heavenly strike, rocking it with supermassive and hidden blades as always. And then even though I'm not running Firemaster, the damage from fired up once they get staggered from the caltrops does a surprising amount of damage with Enjos as well. So we rock it with fired up and deep bags. And then again, we needed to have at least one round of perfect melee stagger damage to ensure that we can one kick stagger Tengus and three kick stagger Elder Oni Lords. As for the techniques, we are using Explosive Blade. For those of you who, for whatever reason, like Explosive Blade, rejoice, because this skill is pretty bad uh, and has been since launch. I've always tried to find a way to use this skill because it's just not very good, and Spirit Pool was boring. Um, Raging Flame is amazing, but it is on a 50-second cooldown and only lasts 11 seconds, and we're not running Spirit Kunai, so we can't actively keep this up for Blessed Strikes. You can use Spirit Pool. I have tested it, so if you're having trouble while utilizing Explosive Blade to keep your health up in between hits, um, you can rock Spirit Pool. It does work, but for that damage demonstration video that I used to show you me one-shotting that Elder Oni Lord with Heavenly Strike, I was using Explosive Blade. Both of these have a 30-second, or sorry, both of these have a 36-second base cooldown and last 15 seconds apiece. So you're good either way, but this is going to increase your damage even further. And because with deep strikes, um, getting that increase to 25% over 10% now with patch 2.18, you are going to have 114% melee damage against staggered Onis and 104% damage against everything else once it gets staggered. If it's not staggered, drop 40% from both Oni and non-Oni enemies, but this build is designed to do exactly that. Stagger and then unleash Heavenly Strike for maximum damage. And Explosive Blade helps us do monstrous amounts of damage. It allows us to keep our health topped off through Blessed Strikes, and because the cooldown isn't horrible, you're going to get it back faster. But if you happen to need health in between the cooldown, that's why we're rocking Healing Strike. Most people, when utilizing a Heavenly Strike build, are going to use Resolve Increase, um, but Healing Strike will heal you for half of your health when you perfect parry, counterattack, and kill an enemy. Just like this video shows, even a nightmare, you're gonna run into scrubby Mongols that are easy to perfect parry and easy to kill. So if you need health in between your explosive blade and blessed strikes being on cooldown, this will be a perfect way for you to get your health back to keep your Enjo's bonus damage active. I rock this on my Satagami Samurai, and I absolutely love it. If you don't find it useful for you, you most definitely can go with increased resolve. But I find that I don't spam my my Heavenly Strike. I usually wait until an enemy is staggered to ensure that I get maximum damage out of every time I use it. Um, so for me, I love Healing Strike. And then we have Legendary here so that we can equip both the Stone Striker and Enjo's. All right, let's go ahead
What
and show it off.
legend would you like to hear? One of my favorites. Shadows of War.
All right, guys, let's show off the build on the Shadows of War this week's Nightmare Survival. It does have reduced healing. We're not worried about that, are we? Coming in hot. Tengu in our sights.
Oni was no match for the ghosts.
I don't know how that hit me, but alright, let's go. Ooh, the double deuce. No. Oh, I totally fucking. Nope. Nope. Alright. Got whooped up a little bit there. Look how bad this healing is. Again, reduced healing for the week, but we still made it work. Even though we got shit on for a second there, we were still able to see some of that miraculous damage. Alright. Let's go for, of course, Tengu. Oh, perfect. Yeah, ha ha ha, bitch. Okay, game. Beautiful. Beautifully done. Alright. Holy shit. I really want him dead. Of course. Oh my god, I hate that attack so much. It's so fast. Oh, I did not mean to do that. It worked out. But yeah, that was sketch. Yeah, this fucker needs to die. I didn't mean to do that either. Jeez, I'm like fat fingering buttons over here. Oh my god, bro, your reach. Can you stop for 5 seconds? Alright. Oh. Now this is the tougher one. But as you can see, it Shreks. I hear you, motherfucker. You still gonna get fucked up.
Beating heart.
Come on.
Became
Come on in here.
silent.
Do this shit. Oh. Let's go, bitch. Oh yeah, this fucker right here. Oh, you ain't going nowhere. dirty. Hey man, there's something on your face. Oh, it's my nuts.